Bernie Madoff, a former stockbroker and financier, orchestrated one of the largest and most infamous financial frauds in history, a massive Ponzi scheme that defrauded thousands of investors out of billions of dollars. The scheme unraveled in December 2008, during the global financial crisis, and left a lasting mark on the financial world. What was the scheme? A Ponzi scheme is a fraudulent investment operation where returns to earlier investors are paid using funds from newer investors rather than legitimate profits. The scheme relies on a constant influx of new investments to keep it afloat. Madoff's operation ran for decades, sustained by his reputation and the illusion of consistent high returns. How it worked: the setup. Madoff operated a legitimate trading business alongside his fraudulent investment advisory firm. Investors were drawn to the firm by its promise of steady, market-beating returns, even during volatile markets. The illusion of success. Madoff used fake account statements and trading records to convince clients that their investments were growing. In reality, no trades were taking place. Recruitment via trust. He leveraged personal relationships and exclusivity, often targeting wealthy individuals, charities, and institutions. His operation was especially successful within tightly knit communities, such as Jewish philanthropic organizations, which trusted Madoff implicitly. Sustaining the scheme. As long as new investors kept pouring money into the fund, Madoff could pay returns to earlier investors, maintaining the illusion of a thriving business. The unraveling. The scheme began to fall apart during the 2008 financial crisis. As markets crashed, investors sought to withdraw their funds. Madoff's operation, lacking the necessary capital to fulfill these requests, collapsed under the pressure. Discovery. In December 2008, Madoff confessed to his sons that his investment advisory business was a fraud. His sons reported him to authorities, leading to his arrest. Losses. The estimated losses totaled around $65 billion, including both the principal investments and the fictitious gains shown on account statements. Actual cash losses, money invested but not returned, were approximately $17 billion. The aftermath. Madoff's sentence. In 2009, Madoff pleaded guilty to 11 federal felonies, including securities fraud, wire fraud, and money laundering. He was sentenced to 150 years in prison, where he died in 2021. Impact on victims. Thousands of individuals, institutions, and charities suffered significant financial losses. Some lost their life savings or were forced to close down. Recovery efforts. A court-appointed trustee, Irving Picard, worked to recover stolen funds. By 2023, Picard's efforts had recovered over $14 billion, which was redistributed to victims. Regulatory reforms. The scandal exposed significant failures in regulatory oversight. Despite multiple warnings and investigations, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, failed to detect Madoff's scheme. The fallout prompted reforms to improve financial industry oversight and investor protections. Legacy of the Madoff scandal. The Madoff case remains a cautionary tale about financial fraud, greed, and misplaced trust. It highlighted vulnerabilities in the financial system and the need for rigorous due diligence by both investors and regulators. The scandal is often used as a textbook example of how Ponzi schemes operate and the devastating impact they can have on victims and society at large.